From Reminder Media, this is Stay Paid, a sales and marketing podcast on a mission to help you close more deals and retain more business. Hosted by the VP of Marketing, Josh Stake, and Reminder Media's president, Luke Acree. So get ready to hear the golden nuggets that will allow you to live a life of freedom tomorrow, but only if you take action today.
Welcome to another Silver Dollar episode of Stay Paid, the best sales and marketing tips of your week in 15 minutes or less. Luke, today we're going to be talking about, I think, what a lot of people struggle with, which is email response rates, right? How to actually get people to reply to your emails. Getting past the clutter of the inbox continues to be a difficult challenge for most sales and marketers. With 121 business emails received every single day, it's no wonder that everyone is focused on how to get a response rate from their sales emails. Today, we're going to go over our top, 4 things that you can hack to get better response rates from your sales emails.
Especially when the applications like Gmail has created the promotions tab, right, and the social tab and all this stuff, which is obviously good for the consumer, but it makes it that much hard for marketers. Now, you say you look at your promotions tab. I rarely in Gmail will look at my promotions tab, besides just deleting. I don't know, Ariel, do you look at your promotions tab?
I do, only when I'm looking for something specifically, because if I order something online, 9 times out of 10, they'll see it's from Old Navy and they'll automatically put it in promotions. But that's the only time I ever look.
I look at my promotions tab. I like a good deal.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting you say that, because I know one of our tips is talking about the subject line. I also look at it
through a different lens of,
you do. Yeah, you're
other
in
people
the business. But I was reading up on this of like, how do you increase your open rates? And there's companies out there, right? There's Neil Patel, where we had his buddy Eric Sue, right? His partner in crime on that podcast. He wrote an article and he talked about how MailChimp did this study with 40 million emails and found that promotions do not do well.
Yeah.
It's the mundane emails that do much better, right? But I put a caveat there because it's interesting. Did you hear what Ariel just said? If she's looking specifically for a deal. So what I always tell people is like, if you have a relationship with the customer, like for us is a perfect example. When we come up on our Black Friday sale, it is heavy promotion and we do phenomenal on online sales with those emails. But one of the things I think why is because throughout the year, we've done an incredible job of putting our brand out in front of them, giving value to them to build this relationship. So now when they get that promo, they're like, I know who this people. I like Old Navy. I want Old Navy clothes. Right. I'm gonna, go on that discount.
You're spot on in terms of you. All of this is backed up with the overall value of the emails that you're providing on a daily basis. But this is really kind of digging into maybe 4 areas of your emails that you can kind of hack. And really, when we say hack, we mean test consistently. Just try hacking these 4 little areas that you can use some of these tips that will bring you, and also, do your own research. But these are the ones that are going to create the most opportunity for responses. So the first one you mentioned is subject line. I think one of the biggest things that people miss or try and do with their subject lines is they try and make them clever. And it's very important. We've learned this time and time again through our own testing that clear is going to beat clever every single time. You want to be laser focused on what that email is about, or personalized to the person receiving it so that they feel like you're speaking directly to them versus some sort of like clever headline. I'll give you a real world example. A headline that we have used in the past. And it's because like as writers and as marketers, you fall in love with this stuff. But we've said like April seeds bring May leads, right? And then we would promote our spring edition of the magazine and we would get very low open rates or click-through rates on that versus we've changed that to say, hi, Luke, customized sample for the spring market. Here's your customized sample for the spring market. And it's like that right there. Not only are you bringing your name in, which does increase the open rate, I think by 18%, you're also then giving them exactly what they're getting. And it's the value. You're presenting the value right there. I'm going to get a customized sample for the spring market.
Yeah, no, it's very, very clear. Like I think about this, like one of the best tactics in marketing is to put yourself in the consumer's shoes because you are a consumer. So think about your own inbox. Think about the emails and the subject lines that resonate with you. It's either personal, like I've heard stats even of changing, making sure it's not coming from a company, it's coming from a person, right? Is going to increase your open rates.
Name.
So I know we send a lot of emails now from me, Luke at ReminderMedia versus like
just ReminderMedia
and stuff like that. But it's really about just like, what are the emails that you would open? Some of the things that I was looking up and reading when I was looking at this is asking a question in your subject line can be popular. Doing a teaser something like a cliffhanger is what they call it, can be really popular if you can somehow. Now, that's borderline on the clever side, but you've got it like if you can get people wanting to see what the next thing is from that cliffhanger.
Well, our marketing director put it great the other day as I was just on the phone with him, and he was kind of talking through, hey, how he's working with the team right now and writing emails and explaining like if the value is in the email, in the medium that you're sending, if the value is meant to be in that email, well then you want to be very explanatory, you want to be complete and comprehensive in what you're providing. But if the value is not in the email and the value is in the phone call, or the value is on the landing page, or the value is in the thing that you're trying to get them to download, that's where you want the cliffhanger. That's where you want to leave them wanting more so that they ultimately go to that thing that's going to deliver the value.
Russell Brunson has done this to me a couple times, and other people probably have too. It's like and now this is our world that we're in. He's a marketer with podcasts and different educational content. He has apologized in his emails to us. Like, I made a huge mistake, right? And it's maybe not exactly that generic, but he's put in his email something like, I'm really sorry, I can't believe I did this type thing. And that's a cliffhanger. You're like, well, what are you apologizing for? And you open the email to see. Now, all of this, like, I really believe like all of this doesn't work very well if you're just mass blasting. It works when you curate, and we'll get to that, when you curate a list. But another thing that I've seen is popular is like an announcement. People can do an announcement, or like, you know how you have listicles and blogs? I find myself opening list. Like
5 things.
5 things. I find myself doing this for Grant Cardone stuff all the time.
Because it tells you what you're going to get. It tells you how much time you really need to invest.
Exactly.
Another great subject line, I have to mention this one because if you've ever read the book Never Split the Difference, it's written by Chris Voss. He's the FBI negotiator. He's like a famous negotiator. He's I think his Instagram is at the FBI negotiator. He says the guaranteed fail-proof email is a simple no-oriented question where it just says, dear Luke, have you decided to give up on X?
Yeah, that's great.
And I had this email used against me recently. We're working with a company, and Ryan, I know if you're listening, you used this email to me, but basically said like, is this project dead? I'm like, well, no, it's not dead. I just haven't had time to respond. So what happened? We ended up getting on a call. Then we got on another call with their IT team, and that project is now being moved forward because he used an email like that.
A lot of our sales reps used to send stuff, and we've refined it a little bit, but should I continue to follow up? Should I continue to call you? And a lot of people will be like, no, don't. I've seen too, but this hasn't worked on me. I'm curious if this has worked on anybody else. I see a lot of sales reps now doing the ABC type options. They try to make it, hey, Luke, I know you're super busy.
I've seen that too.
It hasn't worked on me. It doesn't work with me. It's like, hey, Luke, I know you're super busy, so I want to save you time. Just respond with the letter that fits your scenario. A, still interested, continue to follow up. B, not interested at all. C, haven't had any time to look. It doesn't, it's like if that was a button, maybe.
If you've used this in your emails, I want you to head on over to the YouTube video and leave it in the comments to see how well this has worked, because I've seen it a lot. It's never worked on me. We've never tried it ourselves. The second area that you really want to focus on when it comes to hacking your emails to success is the format. So the idea here would be if you're sending out sales emails, we've talked about this before, you hinted a little bit on it from the one-to-one kind of perspective, but you want to limit your design in sales-oriented emails. More images has proven to receive a greater decline in click-through. So something to think about when writing your emails. The other thing that I would say from a formatting perspective is limit yourself to just text-based formatting. So bolding words, using italics, using capitals, using underlines. That's okay in moderation, especially if you're using it for statements that are particularly powerful and will catch people's attention, because people are going to scan your emails the same way you scan a website, the same way that you're scanning your emails, the same way you're scanning your direct mail pieces. So don't send an email all in the same format, no modifiers or bold or formatting or anything like that, and expect them to read every single word of it.
You have to be incredible at copy to have a long form email, I think, these days. Like we had Jacob McMillan, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, on the show. And he's like a incredible copywriter, and he talks about copy. So go check out that episode. But in terms of writing a long form email, like I barely read emails anymore past the first paragraph, and I will scan over it. So keeping them short. And this plays into that study that MailChimp's doing. It's like the more mundane, but what they mean by mundane is not boring, but the more it's just real. It's just like, this is a real human being that's written this. There's a real purpose here. And so stay away from like A lot of people will talk to me about in their emails about their accolades. They'll talk to me about those things. It's not the place for it in your emails. Now, we're going to talk about landing pages in a coming up episode.
Yeah.
And I think building your trust by showing social proof and that stuff on your landing page is good. But in your emails, to the point, don't try to sell very much. Literally just get to the point and be crystal clear on what you want me to do.
The other formatting hack for emails, this translates over from web design too, is actually the shape of your email. So it's been proven, they've done this through like eye test, that people read in an F shape online. So what that means is they will read the top completely across the page pretty much. They'll give kind of that first sentence, all of that effort. Then they'll go a little bit into the next line. Then they'll go further into the third or fourth line. So crazy. And then they'll just basically scroll down and scan for things that really appeal to them. So when you're writing your emails, and I've seen our own marketing director writes emails like this. That's why I know that it works. But basically like that first statement is powerful, a little bit longer, not paragraph, but it's a longer sentence. And then it's, an example was like your brother, we use your brother as a story. And so one of like the second sample was I convinced my brother to quit real estate. Then it's a little bit more information. And then and you can see how to use this system as well. And just shorter as you kind of work down the page. That's another thing to kind of think about when it comes to the shape of your emails. It'd be interesting
if we could put that on the show notes page. If we could grab a screenshot of that copy of that email and show people kind of an email that we've done that's worked.
Definitely easy. But short, easy sentences are really important in that as well. The next thing that you want to really test is your call to action. So the idea here being that you only have one call to action when sending an email. That doesn't mean that you can't have multiple links. But each one of those links should support or go to the same thing that you want that email to provide. So if you're sending out an email and you want to schedule a call, your call to action button at the bottom, you do want to include a button. So the one caveat to that formatting thing is making sure to use a button because it actually increases click-through rates by 28%. So your copy is all text-based, but then you actually want to have a button.
But it makes sense. A link feels like it could be spam.
Sure,
people are so conditioned for phishing spam that they ignore links.
Yeah. Now you do want to go through and probably link out because multiple links in an email has been proven in some scenarios to increase click-through rates. I've read studies where it says it doesn't. I've read studies where it says it does. But that's where you want to test yours. But make sure that you're linking, when you are linking out, you're not linking to an article over here.
Yeah.
If you want them to schedule an appointment with you now, that should be your main call to action. So any other links, like let's say in your copy, you're saying, would love to set up a call, highlight set up a call and make that a link to schedule your appointment.
I love that. I was going to say that like Jeff, who's been our number one salesperson for like 18 years, one of the things he does, and he calls high-end relationships for us, right? And he calls, does sales calls for us. He puts in a lot of links in his emails, and he gets really good response from these broker owners and these managers out there. So I don't know. I mean, that
makes a ton of sense in that scenario because what's Jeff trying to do with that?
Yeah,
he's trying to build trust.
Yeah, correct. He's
just trying to build trust and credibility with the people that we're speaking to because they're then going to then go and represent us to their agents as well. So it's a great tactic there. Yep. The next thing that we would recommend doing, and this one's kind of obvious, but again, so many people miss it. And this is where like your hacks really kind of come into play is the making your emails mobile friendly. So what we mean on that is on the iPhone, when you're looking at an email subject, you're only going to see about 30 characters. So when writing out the subjects of your emails, make sure you're counting those first 30 characters to make sure that you're getting everything in there and you're not leading the hook at the end of the sentence, as well as pre-header text. I think pre-header text is more valuable on mobile because it's so much clearer than whenever I'm sitting on the desktop. And I don't know if you've experienced this as well. I will browse the pre-header text on email before I decide whether to swipe or not.
100%. Yeah.
On desktop, I'm just I'm clicking delete as I go through my inbox. But on the mobile, I'm actually looking.
Just swipe.
Yeah, before I choose to swipe or not. I think that plays a big role.
How do you know the statistics? How many people are reading their emails through mobile versus desktop? I don't.
42% of all emails are opened on mobile.
Okay, or open on mobile,
which sounds low to me, but I guess maybe the open stat is the important part there. Meaning people might be checking their email more on mobile. But
I don't like to respond to email on mobile. Like, I don't know why. I don't know if it's because the lack of spell check and stuff. Yeah, but maybe because we're old. We're almost middle-aged, as they say.
I'll wait till I get back to my desk to respond to that one.
But meaning, like, I don't find myself responding, but I find myself cleaning on my mobile. I'm constantly cleaning from that standpoint. So I agree with you. I think you read the subject line, the first sentence. If it doesn't catch it, boom, you're done.
Biggest takeaway here, though, is test. Make sure that you're sending out A/B tests. If you're using software that gives you the option, use that software to A/B test your headlines, your subjects. Make sure you're only testing one thing at a time. So I want to point that out. If you are A/B testing emails, only test the subject, then use the same subject, but only test the design, then use the same design, but only test the call to action button. If you're not using software that allows you to do an A/B test, it's simple. Take half your audience, send them one version of your email, set up a second email, changing one variable, send that to the second half. The software that allows you to do it will actually send like a list or an email send to like 20%. Then it'll wait 24 hours. It'll choose the winner and then automatically send
we
the
use
winning
Marketo
subject.
For this is what we use.
Yeah, but MailChimp lets you do it. There's lots of different...
HubSpot, there's a ton of them out there that will let you do that.
So there you go. There are the 4 hacks for your email marketing to get better response rates. Thank you so much for listening. You can head on over to staypaidpodcast.com for the show notes. We'll also make sure to include a screenshot or a couple samples of our emails just so you can check them out, see what you think. Make sure to comment on the video for the YouTube. For the YouTube, comment on the YouTube. What email tips you've received? Also, have you ever used that multiple choice email style? Let us know if you use that and that works for you. To support the show, we'd love it if you take a minute to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review and a comment to let us know how we're doing. And the best way to support the show is to share with a friend, share on your social media. I buy pens. I'm kind of a pen nerd. Yeah. Right? I buy pens from like
You were
Japan.
given a gift of a pen by somebody one time that was like a $300 or $200 pen.
Yeah, it was.
Was it Mont Blanc or something?
Mont Blanc.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually, it's actually kind of funny. I shouldn't say it, but I don't like that pen. Like it doesn't write very nice, but it's very pretty.
It's a $300 pen, but it doesn't write very nice.
It's very beautiful. But I've ordered so many different replacement ink cartridges for it, and I can't get any one that I actually like. I'm actually very particular with my pens. I buy them from Japan because Japan has they have finer pens.
Just so the audience knows, I never knew this about Josh.
Yeah. So like if you walk into a Staples or a big box store, like you're lucky to get below a millimeter. Like most millimeters, probably like the finest that your pens will go. Some, they go down to the 0.8 millimeter, which is nice sometimes. But you go into you order from Japan, right? And you can get down as like the 0.04 millimeter. You get to 0.038.
The Japanese got it going on.
Millimeter fine writing. Yeah, so I actually bought a pen recently that can write underwater. Yeah, it can write other words too. But it can also write underwater.
Your dad jokes are unreal.
Everything before that was true, folks. So if you're a pen nerd like me, please comment.
You never know.
Did you really buy your pens from Japan?
I do, yeah. It's called jetpens.com.
That I did not know.
I was just going to say, you never know whatever you're about to say, because you can tell as soon as you finish that outro, it's immediately going into the dad joke, but you have no idea how much is true and how much is just a setup for the dad joke. Yeah,
there's a blog that I follow, penaddict.com, so you can fellow pen addicts out there. If you want to get a hold of me or Luke, or maybe look at some pictures of our pens, you can follow us on Instagram. We are at Stay Paid Podcast. And of course, you can check out
Luke has no pens, by the way.
ReminderMedia as well. We are at ReminderMedia on every platform. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stykes.
I'm Luke Acree. That just sounded naughty. If you want to look at our pens, I'm just like, what the heck are you talking about?
I was trying to speed on past that one.
He's just trying to let it go. Ariel's like, oh, I can't even now. Okay, here's your action item. Go and look at pictures of Josh and I's pens on our website, penaddicts.com. No, this is your true action item. Personalize your subject lines. That's an easy thing that you can start doing. Take a look at your emails and see, how can I personalize these subject lines? Can I put a first name in the subject line and then track the open rates? I'd be curious if you're sending a weekly newsletter. I'd be curious if you change it to where you put the person's first name in the subject line of who you're sending it to and what that does to your open rates. Because from some stuff I read, it can increase your open rates up to 35%. Now, I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I'd love for you to try it. I do know personalization can really help you in terms of getting open rates and increasing that. Remember this, the difference between a top producer and a mediocre producer in every single industry we work in is top producers take action. So take action on that today.